final. He had one more year left, I think, on his rookie deal. So shout out to the Bengals for getting Tyler Boyd signed. Not only that, Boyd actually played receiver at Pittsburgh and broke a lot of Larry Fitzgerald's records. I mean, not all of them, because Larry Fitzgerald has a lot of records as a Pittsburgh Panther. But he broke some freshman records and a couple other records. So shout out to Tyler Boyd. He was a real one, even from a freshman. He had it, and great they had a breakout year. But back to the Tennessee Titans, Kevin Byard, former Middle Tennessee standout. I think he's our all-time leader in interceptions to this day, if I'm not mistaken. He was a ball hawk. Was a 2-star recruit coming out of high school, and I want y'all local high school athletes to pay attention. He was a 2-star recruit coming out of high school, like all-time interceptions leader for Middle Tennessee State and the conference that they played in, Sun Belt. Then you throw in the fact that he didn't get a combine invite because scouts said he was too slow. Then you throw in the fact that a couple years ago he led the league in interceptions with, I think, 8. And he's leads the league in interceptions in like the past 2 years with like 12 from a safety perspective. Got a 5-year, $70.5 million contract extension with $31 million in guarantees, which means he is now the highest paid safety in NFL history. So, I'm going to clap that up real quick. Titans fans, I'm a Raiders fan, so you ain't going to get that many claps. Like, I'm being very generous today. So, anyway. Yeah, I know. Now that I think about it, I'm kind of laughing at the Raiders more because they passed on Adoree Jackson. I'm still mad about that. Like, really mad about that. Every time I think about, like, wait, hold on. 2 more. Yeah. There we go. So, yeah. That's how many times the Raiders shot themselves in the foot in the draft recently. Like, passing on elite talent. Because they passed on Kevin Byard, too. They passed on a lot of people in the Tennessee Titans secondary, but hey, whatever. Okay, so on to the next topic. We have training camp holdouts. Now, there's about 7 of them. And I don't blame any one of these dudes for holding out. And then one person on this list technically hasn't said they were going to hold out. But, okay, I'll just drop the name. Ezekiel Elliott, he pretty much wasn't on the Dallas Cowboys charter today. They're pretty much going to offer to fly you out for training camp. Didn't do it. He may be there tomorrow to take his physical because tomorrow's technically the deadline. Like, you have to show up Friday. So, who knows? But the dude has been, like, arguably the best running back in the league since he came into the league. So, he deserves to get his money. But the Cowboys are in a very interesting conundrum because they have to pay They pretty much have to pay Dak Prescott and Zeke. You have to pay both those guys because I don't know any other quarterbacks who are coming out of anywhere to save the Cowboys. So you have to pay Dak. Like, it's just not up for debate. But with Zeke, like, he has to get paid, but also his deal might reset the entire running back market because he's the youngest of all these guys who are getting paid. And then you have Alvin Kamara, who after this year is gonna need to get paid because I think he's 2 years away. from his contract being up, his rookie deal. So when it comes to the Cowboys, you can't just afford to franchise a guy like Ezekiel Elliott and then try not to pay him because he's your entire offense. And you took him 4th overall for a reason. So it'll be interesting to see how that situation plays out. But you also have other situations as far as when I talked about New Orleans Saints, Kamara's there. He's there doing his thing. But wide receiver Michael Thomas, who had 125 catches last year, and the closest person on the team for the Saints had about 30 or 50. It was like 38 catches, I think, and that was Ben Watson. That was like the next closest gap for catches on that team. I actually think Ben Watson had like 50. But like for the Saints offense, passing wise, Michael Thomas was is the guy. Like 125 catches, 126. You have to pay him, and apparently he hasn't liked the offer that he's been getting. Saints might not want to be stupid about this. They might just want to pay him because who else are you throwing the ball to? You can't put Kamara at receiver the entire time. Like, you need Michael Thomas, and he was a second-round pick. So give the man his money because if you look at everybody who got paid, he has more catches in the past 3 years than all of them. He owns the record for most catches in the first 3 years of your career. If you're wondering what that was like a police siren outside. So, no. Yeah. Also, you have Chargers running back Melvin Gordon, who needs to get paid, but he's probably somewhere in that 3 to 7 range as far as like top running backs. He's no lower than 7. I can't think of 7 running backs better than Melvin Gordon. So I'd say he's a top 6 running back. But it's also going to be interesting to see how and where he falls and where the Chargers pay him because Phillip Rivers ain't got that much time left. And then you have Redskins, the Deadskins, left tackle Trent Williams, who's still mad about how the training staff mishandled an injury that he had. And he's not happy with how little he's being paid as far as top offensive lineman because arguably he's like a top 3 left tackle and he's not 3. So you might want to pay that man. But Trent Williams, they brought in Donald Penn, free agent left tackle Donald Penn. They brought him in to talk. Probably as like an emergency stopgap just in case they have to ride it out without one of the best left tackles in football, if not the best left tackle in football. Yeah, the Redskins might not want to mess that up. And then, of course, Texans defensive end / linebacker, whatever they feel like schematically using him as, Jadeveon Clowney, didn't sign his tender, so he pretty much is just waiting out for a deal that's probably not going to come. We'll see what happens. Should be interesting, though. Now, on to Jarran Reed, standout defensive tackle for and you guessed it, the led by, how should I say this, because Russell Wilson is just corny. Probably one of the corniest football teams in the country, only because of the quarterback, but a young, elite, talented defense that is rebuilding. Jarran Reed had like 10 sacks last year. Playmaking D-tackle, and he gets suspended 6 games for something that happened a couple years ago, an incident that happened a couple years ago to where he wasn't arrested and he wasn't charged with anything. But he was somehow going to be suspended for 6 games. Man, I just don't understand the NFL's punishment policies. Like, it makes no sense. Like, Jarran Reed gets 6 games, even though His appeal was overturned. He wasn't arrested. He wasn't charged with anything, but because of a potential domestic violence situation from back a couple years ago, he's suspended for 6 games. But Tyreek Hill was found totally innocent in the whole child abuse case and the dossier they had on him and all the findings and recordings that we heard. Even though he threatened his baby mother and said, "Bitch, you should be scared of me," he'd only at least get 2 games for saying that to the mother of his child. And the fact that there's bickering and infighting between him and the mother of his child, and their child still has a broken arm and no one can substantiate how that happened. So you're kind of both at fault or you're negligent. And since this is becoming such a huge deal with domestic violence, the least they could do is suspend him for like 4 games. He honestly, I would suspend him for 6. But according to all the evidence, he didn't break his kid's arm. He's innocent. Fine. But to have this much smoke around you, and then the NFL just comes up with, says, nope, there's no fire. But you, Jerron Reed, because you lost your appeal on something you didn't actually legally get in trouble for, and you weren't charged with at all. You weren't arrested. You weren't charged. You weren't anything. Because you lost your appeal. That's 6 games. That's trash. And a lot of people in the NFL are confused by it. Like, really confused by it. As should y'all watching. So, I mean, but if you're in a fantasy football, you're probably really happy. And some of y'all are still going to draft him, even though you think he's a shit person and a shit parent. But whatever. It is what it is. That's all fine. But now I want to get to some notable free agent news. Former Pro Bowl defensive tackle for the Green Bay Packers, Mike Daniels, number 76, was cut pretty much on like the first day of camp for the Packers. I think last week Allen Hurns got cut after being injured. He just got injured and then they cut him. And he was like, I wish, he pretty much like, I'm not mad, but I wish they would have just cut me earlier. Because now the money's dried up. Teams aren't going to be looking to sign a dude like Allen Hurns, even though he can produce for you. And now he's kind of getting shorted on money. Cowboys screwed him. You look at the Packers, they wanted to trade. They wanted someone to trade for Mike Daniels. Couldn't find a partner, so they cut him. And now he's looking at only going to Super Bowl contenders. So you could see Mike Daniels possibly on the Kansas City Chiefs, on, dare I say it, the San Diego Chargers, dare I say it, the New England Patriots, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Saints maybe. Like, this is crazy. Daniels was only, in his 7th year, I think. Dude can still play and will probably ball out as a 4-3 tackle. Hell, he might end up even in Cleveland. He would take the dude, the D tackle on a Charlotte spot, but Mike Daniels, Sheldon Richardson, I would personally say the Raiders should be like, what's good? The Raiders should throw money at a couple people. Like, and cut a couple, like, I would cut Justin Ellis and Andy Vander does, and straight up throw money at Mike Daniels for 2 years. He ain't falling off that hard. And if you give Mike Daniels and put him next to a young up-and-coming talent like that of Maurice Hurst, that could be special. That could be very special. And then, you go throw somebody at Eric Berry, because I just don't trust what the Raiders have at safety right now. But hey, it is what it is. And as far as the free agents go, so Mike Daniels, Eric Berry, Michael Crabtree, Jay Yahi, who was just cleared by the doctors, Des Bryant, Mo Wilkerson, who's recovering from injury, Nick Perry, another person who could probably be good for the Raiders, but hey, whatever. Mason Foster, who just got cut by the Redskins after starting all 16 games. Probably because